Ooh. Sometimes I get online and I get really excited about things and then I promise too much. Oh, I'm talking on my phone right now. Clearly I'm watching. Let me turn that off. Uh, we're not doing Sapiens today, which glad we're not because I really I right after I did the last episode I got right into reading the book, reading Sapiens, and I never really got to. I did that partly because I wanted to read more about it, and then the other part is that I finished with. I wanted to finish the Bible this week, and I got finished with it today. And yesterday I got online like I usually do. It's kind of a thing that I do that I am not proud of, and I like to get on there and just maybe I just get really excited and I post things that I shouldn't. And not really so much that I shouldn't, but I kind of put my foot in my mouth maybe. Like I speak before I think. And I said that I wanted to, just talk about why I wanted to read that thing. I'm done with it, and I think that I don't know. Honestly, I guess I'm just scared to admit anything. Honestly, I don't really necessarily want to talk about it. To talk about these things. But it does make me feel better after I do. I feel good. Plus, like I said, I want to help. I just, as much as I can. And honestly, the Bible, really solidified that for me. I really want to help now. I honestly think that it's my duty to help others. And it's my duty to speak out, just like it's everybody else's duty to speak out and, just preach love. However you do it, So, yeah. Yeah. I lost my train of thought. Sorry. we have an obligation. We have an obligation to help, and we have an obligation to talk to others. And you don't have to go door to door with the Bible and ask if they know their Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You don't have to do that. You can do that if you'd like, and more power to you. But, however you want to preach love, you should. And you should do it with a open, loving heart. And I got to be honest, I have not ever gotten anything like that like I have from the Bible. I don't know. One of the reasons why I did this is because of how that book made me feel. It made me excited. It made me. I have struggled with religion for a while now. 13 years, I think, when I looked it up. I don't know. After it's wild. I remember laying in bed and having my last conversation with God, honestly, and I remember it so vividly. Because I was just so angry with how everything was going. Even though I had a great life, I don't know what I was angry about. I could not tell you. Something dumb. And I, as silly as this sounds, I asked for a sign from him to, just let me know. And Jesus' name, amen. And I went to sleep. And the next morning, Sandy Hook happened. And that's when it was, that's honestly when it was, that's when it was over for me. And even when it was over for me, I still sat in my room and was just hoping I wasn't struck with lightning. And I know that sounds silly, but that's how I was raised. Like, I was raised in a very, I honestly don't know what denomination it was, to be honest. It's very Baptist. It's a lot of things, and it's a lot of things in a different mindset. I lived with my grandmother was schizophrenic and bipolar and had dissociative identity disorder, which was multiple personalities. And I guess, from my early teenage years, we moved her in with us, with me and my dad. So I got to live with her for a while throughout my teenage years. And let me just tell you, that was an experience. That was definitely an experience. The the wild thing is that it wasn't so much as an experience for me as it was for my father. My father lived with, his mother. I wouldn't say most of his life, because he was taken away to foster homes. And his mother was taken away from him because of the things that she did. I don't really know. I don't think I want to go into those things at the moment. I know that I said that I wanted to talk about that stuff, but honestly, I'd like to. I honestly should talk to my dad about this. And honestly, it'd be really cool to have him chat with me about this with you guys. I think that would be a fun little episode. Maybe I'll talk to him about that. I'll give you a little rundown. It's just not so much a rundown, but just know that my dad's mother was a schizophrenic, bipolar, multiple personality woman that grew in a very religious upbringing whenever she was a child. She actually was basically casted out of her family because of how she lived her life. I learned that my grandfather, I never knew my grandfather. I never even knew my last name until recently when I went to Ancestry DNA. But I learned that my grandfather would pick her up from places and take her back. And I don't know what that necessarily means when they say that. I mean, I don't want to call my grandmother a prostitute, but it's what it sounds like. It's what it sounded like to me whenever it was explained to me. Also, I don't know. I don't want my dad to feel a certain way about this, but honestly, it's not really, this is for me to tell. And I lived with that woman for a while, and unfortunately, because of the life that my dad lived and the unfortunate events that have happened to him with a loss of a child and the mother that he lived with and the divorces that he had and just all the things that kind of got him to where he is today. He definitely, I now know that he has a lot of his mother in him. And I didn't really understand that until recently because I have the eyes of a child when I look at my father, and my brothers do as well. And I think it's safe to say that I'm coming to realize that he's undiagnosed with schizophrenia, probably bipolar, and I don't know about multiple personalities. I know that my grandmother, my dad told me that, she was a heavy smoker. And I'll tell you the experiences that I've had with my grandmother. I don't have to tell my dad. I won't tell my dad's part, but I can tell you the experiences that I've had with her. There's been multiple times that this woman would lock me out because I was an alien and I was going to kidnap her. One time she thought I was making counterfeit money with a cardboard box. And, I've seen this woman doing the dishes with no clothes on. I've seen her yelling at nothing that wasn't there. This woman was a hoarder. And that's one of the things that her and my dad have very much in common. And I guess part of the reason why I want to talk about this is because my dad is such a great guy. I love my dad with all of my heart. He is one of my favorite people. And, also my grandmother, I loved that lady as well. She was one of my favorite people. I mean, she never hurt me, She was more scared of me than anything. She had this little shitty ass little dog too named Princess, and that little dog was an asshole. I think that's probably why I'm not a dog person, is because of that dog, now that I think about it. And I never realized it until now. So yeah, that's what I lived with. I went to church with my dad when we were a lot younger. I think that my dad was starting to switch. Probably late 20s, I'd say, maybe early 30s. I don't really remember. I know that I was 6 when he just stopped caring about things. And I don't mean that as in like he couldn't help it. He just stopped. He cares about us. He still calls me baby. He still calls me his baby. Still, and I love that about him. He's the sweetest man. He just got kicked out of Walmart recently. I won't go into that story, but he was banned from that. So that's kind of the gist of my relatives on my father's side. And my mother's side, I moved in with my father. I don't remember how old I was, 15, 14. I don't remember whenever me and my mother got into our last fight and I left. So, yeah, I moved in with my father. We used to go to a church. It was called Good Shepherd. A lot of great people in there. They spoke in tongues. That was a weird one for me. I think they call that Pentecostal. I don't remember. I think they used to wear dresses. The girls did. I don't know what that's called. But they spoke in tongues a lot, and I never understood what that was. And, my experience with religion was fear because of how it was taught to me. They used a lot of scare tactics on children. At one time, they made us truly believe that they were praying the devil out of the room because they slammed the door as our Sunday school teacher was getting louder and louder, and the devil ran out and slammed the door. And now, as a 40-year-old man, I was probably 6 or 7 by the time that happened. And the scariest thing I've ever dealt with in my life. That was the first scariest experience I've ever had in my life. Well, the second scariest experience, actually. So, those two people, my grandmother and my father, long story short, is the big reason why I finally decided to read the Bible. And picked up that psychology book and started reading that. I could go on and on about those two. Like I said, one day maybe my father would talk to me about some of those things. I want him to talk to me one day, so the things that he told me, that will be our conversation, because I want him to trust me when he talks to me, because he's never talked to anybody. And I think that there's a lot of paranoia in that. And I understand. One of the things that freaks the hell out of me is, will I turn into my father? You know what I'm saying? Will I turn into my grandmother? Will my children turn into my father and their grandfather and their great-grandmother? I hope not, because that is a tough road to go down. I've seen people do it. I know how it is. My grandmother was taken away, in paddy wagons. My father's whole childhood life. He'd see her be taken away because of the things that she would do. Anyway, I don't want to be too somber about it. Because this is honestly a really good day. I feel like, this is a huge accomplishment for me to finish this book, because intermission. Did you say pause? There's no pause button. Anyway, Haley was running through. Sorry. Get out of here. Where was I? Oh yeah, it's a good day today. I feel like I feel like it's a celebration, because I finished the book. I finished the Bible today. I always call it the book. I don't know why I don't want to call it the Bible. I guess because it's just a weird time altogether. Because if you'd have told me that I was going to read this book last year, I would have laughed in your face, honestly. And I just wouldn't have believed it. But me and my father got into our last fight. And we got into it because, you know, we had to we had to send him to the brook, uh, because he lost his house and he lost everything because he gives all of his money to drug addicts and just terrible people, honestly. And he doesn't know that they're terrible. He doesn't understand. He can't. He's very gullible. He wants to help these people, but in reality, he just enables them. And he has lost everything because of it. That's how complicated the situation is, because my dad literally has given his last dime away. He's lost his house. He lives with my brother on a makeshift bed. And he has kind of destroyed my brother's house. And my brother is going through it now because, we had to move him somewhere. And, I have things going on here to where I can't have him hoarding up my house. I know exactly what would happen, and it's happened to my brother, and I feel terrible for him. And I needed to fix this somehow, because I am a fixer, and I'm competent. I want to learn, and I'm not getting answers from other people. I'm not getting answers from doctors. I don't even know where I can get those answers from. I don't even know where I can get those answers now. And so yeah, that's why I started reading these books in January. And after starting the Bible, I did it again. After starting the Holy Bible. After starting the Bible, I really started noticing some things. And because I've tried to read the Bible multiple times, I was deeply into religion. I was deeply into Christianity from growing up to what my father told me to until I was 26 or 27, I think. Yeah, 27 years old. I mean, I wrote songs about God. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wrote songs about this stuff. I mean, I went to Little Flock for a while, and Little Flock holds such a special place in my heart because of what they've done for me. I've made a lot of good friends that go to Little Flock, and like I said, it holds a special place in my heart. I mean, I remember I sung an NSYNC Christmas song at Little Flock on stage, and I don't know. They accepted me and whenever I was not getting the acceptance that I yearned for, I guess, from home. Long story short, I have a terrible fear of death, and because I lived with it all of my life. My brother, his name was Joseph. He was 3 years younger than me, and he was around 2, when he was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and I was 5, and his whole life, until he passed away at 10 years old, every night when he was sleeping, I would go by his side and make sure that he was breathing, because I knew one day he was going to die. I just made it somber again. Oh man, I'm sorry about that. But it is what it is. I've been depressed my whole life, and I've finally realized that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's good to take deep breaths like that. I hold so much in. I have so much anxiety, and I have so much just worked up anger and sadness that I needed to let go of, and I didn't have the answers for that. So I thought, I'll give the Bible a chance. Also, I wanted to look in the mind of my father and see where he was coming from with all of this, because I always said that my father was, he could be Jesus Christ reincarnate, because that man, if you ask for it, he'll give it to you. And he ain't got it. So yeah. So I started reading it in January. And I told myself that I started reading that first. And I got to, I don't know, it doesn't matter. I got to Deuteronomy or something when I decided this was getting kind of boring. And it always did. I would start, oh no, my thing's crapping out on me. I hope the camera's good. Calm down. Damn, I hope it doesn't do that. Anyway, where was I? I saw it blink on me like that. I don't remember. Let's try to back this up again. That blink got ahead of me. I don't know if I can do these lives anymore. I don't know if it's like, I kind of just want to take it off of the camera. I feel like the quality on this is kind of terrible when I've used my very expensive camera that I bought to take photos. I feel like I should get better quality. So I might just start recording these on Thursdays and then just putting them out on Fridays. Anyway, yeah, I remember what I was saying. Got a little bored and wanted to kind of mix things up a little bit, and I started talking to Grok about books and told it. And also another thing, like I was really starting to get interested in psychology anyway this year. I really wish I could go to school for it, honestly, because I would, but I have to start paying for my children's school some way, somehow in the next couple years. So that's out of the picture at the moment, but I took it upon myself to learn it myself. I will get a YouTube education and a Grok education, and I will start reading more books. So that's what, that's what turned into this. And in the middle of the Bible, I didn't realize that I was getting a lot of good answers to a lot of questions that I had. I can't, I can't quote you scriptures or anything like that. But I know the premise, and I know what it's telling us, and it just honestly changed my life, and I wasn't even expecting it. And once I was realizing that it was changing my life, I wanted to share it, and that's what I'm doing right here. Which at the moment I'm sharing it to the void, but I'm hoping it'll pick up, and we can start having conversations with each other. Because I think we're all a little lonely right now. Like, I feel like everybody is just kind of pushed everybody else away, whether that's because of social anxiety or political influences, or, just somebody just turning into a shitty person because their life is shitty. And even for people like me, where I have a great life, I am so lucky to be where I am today and have the people in my life that I have. And before I started reading the Bible, I was still just not happy. Because, I don't know, I guess because I felt lost. Like, I just, and I still, and I'm not saying that I am born again. I still have questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, getting through the Bible, I can believe in I can believe in a God, but it's very hard for me to believe in coming back from the dead like Jesus did. I'm still struggling with that. But I did get some solace with something that was said, and I got it actually from the Bible Project, which I highly recommend if you guys are wanting to start to read the Bible. They have a they have a video for each book of the Bible that will help you kind of understand what you're about to read or what you just read, and it gives you a just a better understanding. But one of the things that it said, and it said this, and he was talking about Jude when he said it. Let's see if I can find it. Hopefully I can. I apologize if I'm just sitting here just chilling with this, but it is a good thing, and yeah. So the Bible Project said something to me, and it really helped. It said, if you really love me, you obey my teachings. And that meant, for Christians, how you live is the most reliable indicator of what you actually believe. And if I want to live like anybody, I want to live like Jesus. And I can get behind those teachings now, and it makes me... I guess to put it plainly, that book the Bible just really made me understand forgiveness, and made me understand that I do, just like the rest of us, we do need to love our neighbors, and like they're our brother and sister. And we do need to love our enemies like they are our brothers and sisters, because hate, and it sounds so corny when you say it, but hate is such a poison that just drains your energy. And anytime I've ever tried to do something helpful for somebody, and anytime I've tried to do something grandiose to help others, it's always made me feel so much better than being hateful. And I'm very good at being hateful, because, you know, I've hated myself for a long time, and I still struggle with it, but I'm better now, and I get better with it each day. And honestly, like, for real, I sound like my mother when I talk, because she says the same things, and I finally get it. So, yeah, that's where I am with that. I wanted to share that. It's a great book. I would like to answer questions about it. I'd like to talk to people about it. I actually love talking to people about it. Man, that thing is going out. I know that I saw you blink. I don't like that. I think I'm just going to record these because I can't get down with terrible, thing. I can't get down with that. Plus, nothing's really happening at the moment right now. I have 5 subscriptions. I have 5 subscribers on YouTube. That makes me excited. 5 is cool. I guess I do. It's so weird because I don't want to care about that stuff, but I also want people to listen. And I also want to hear from those people. And I also want to conversate with people. Like, I guess I don't want to... I want us all to talk. All of us. That's why I started doing hair. Is because I just wanted to talk to people. I wanted to hear their stories. And I wanted to try to make a difference in their lives. And I hope that I do that now. Man, I've really calmed down since I said a silly joke to somebody, and they were just not the person to say a joke to, and I didn't know that. I honestly thought that they were somebody that I could joke around with, and I couldn't, and they got really upset with me, and I hated that, because that's the last thing I want somebody to feel whenever they talk to me, and that's really calmed me down. And sometimes I hate it, and sometimes it's probably for the best. I think I'm seeing a lot of growth in that, and I honestly do need to chill out with some of the things that I say and do, and I'm okay with that, because I have to put other people's, I have to put myself in other people's shoes. And that's another reason why I read that psychology book. And reading the Bible and reading that psychology book really helped me get in the heads of other people and understand them, and easily find a way to love that person, because we're all going through some shit. So yeah. I don't want to drag this on. I feel like I've went a long time. We're about an hour in, but I guess we're probably about 45 minutes in. I don't have any... I could talk forever if anybody... I guess we can talk about this later. I guess that's the thing. Yeah. I gave you the gist of things. I gave you enough. I'd still like to keep going into it. And we can talk about all of that stuff later. I could go on and on and on, but it's getting late. And I want to spend time with my family. And really need to start looking up what eschatology, I think it's called eschatology. Is that the study of the end times? Revelations was so crazy. So crazy. And I still think that they should have put the Book of Enoch. I still think that should go in there. Because for them to quote it as much as they did, I think that it's pretty important. And I think it would be great. I'm going to read it. I haven't read it yet. But I'm going to start reading that for my personal reading. We're still reading Sapiens. We'll get into money and how that started, and empires and how those started. I need to reread it because honestly, I rushed through it a little bit. I'm gonna reread it this week and take my time with it because I just wanted to finish the Bible. I wanted to get through it. I am so happy that I did because going, that's how I want to live my life. That's how I'm going to. That's my plan, and I'm not going to be perfect at it. But I'm going to put the work in and be better each day. And if that thing doesn't stop flickering, I'm gonna be mad as hell. Yeah, that changed. That made my mind up right there. I will be. I'll be recording these. I'll be putting them on YouTube, and I'll just share them on Facebook. I honestly feel like I'm just wasting up y'all's timeline, to be honest. I mean, it is what it is. I think it's just a better thing to go on YouTube. I don't know what the live's about. I thought that we was going to get people, talking and stuff like that, and that's fine too. I mean, I'm not expecting anything from anybody. But, if you do want to support, me and my family and, any of the things that I do, first off, please come get your hair done. Second off, give my stuff a like, and that's if you want to support me. I'm not asking for likes just for pities, but, like for like. Subscribe to the YouTube page, Dumb Man's Book Club. We're going to get back to Sapiens. I have a cool theory about the Bible and, the beginning and Jesus' teachings and even Revelations, honestly, and just kind of mixing in with hunter-gatherer lifestyle and agriculture and all of that stuff. And I will talk about that more once we get finished with this book. I'm not trying to jump into things like I always do. I'm always trying to jump ahead. It's one of my least favorite qualities about me is jumping ahead. Anytime I'd go and talk about how I'm going to lose weight, I'll hurry up and take a picture of myself with my shirt off and not do shit about it. So now I just would post a fat ass picture of myself online and act like I'm about to do something about it and then just not. That's who I am, and I don't like that. So I'm not going to do that. That sounds like a New Year's resolution that I will try to do as well. I'll probably still do it. Who am I kidding? Yeah, that's the show today. I don't have to explain everything and all things until the end of time. I can just bounce out of here and we can get started next week on Sapiens and talk some more about what I think, how my life has been, and where we are with trying to learn the answers of the universe, to be honest. After reading the Bible, I'd love to read about the Sumerians now and get a whole, get an idea of what was going on way before the Bible. You know what I mean? So we'll we'll continue with that. I guess I'm gonna go tell everybody goodnight and play some Battlefield. Peace, guys. Thanks.